Doctor, we often talk about things such as mind, body, and soul. We know what body is. We don't know what soul is, whether it exists or not, we don't know. But what is mind?
To begin with, we are a collection of different experiences. We have experiences in our body, we have experiences in our mind, we have experiences in terms of thoughts, feelings, emotions. What I believe is whatever aspect of our experience, whatever aspect of our existence we're conscious of, that constitutes our mind. Whatever is running, whatever is existing in our conscious awareness, that bring together an experience in the mind.
That means all the experiences, all the things we see, all the stories we hear, and suppose the movies we watch, all these constitutes the mind.
Whatever we are currently conscious of, aware of, that constitutes the mind. Because there is so much experience we are going through from moment to moment in our daily life. We may not be conscious of all those experiences. What we are currently conscious of, that constitutes our mind. Awareness constitutes mind. Consciousness constitutes the mind.
So mind is a present moment thing.
Present moment. There may be many other information, many other experiences, but we may not be necessarily aware of those experiences, or we may not like to process those experiences, be aware of those experiences. So we keep it away from our conscious awareness. That doesn't constitute mind.
So what we currently going through is, to be concisely said, that is what mind is.
What we choose to be aware of, what we need to be aware of, simply the mind.
But what makes us to think or feel or experience the current moment? What decides that?
Awareness is something we have under our conscious control. So whatever we want to be consciously aware of, that is currently, or that at that point presently constitutes the content of the mind, the matter of the mind. What we want to be aware of, what we want to focus our attention, focus, concentration on.
So, doctor, what does it exactly mean to have mental disorders or psychological disorders? Is it something affects the mind, or we are not able to currently properly live in the moment with this awareness?
Yes. So, as I had mentioned before, experiences are felt and lived in different dimensions: body, mind, emotions, thoughts, feelings, in different dimensions of our existence. But to understand and answer your question, we need to add one more variable, that is the variable of time. We are living in the present, we had a past, and we look forward to the future. In the present, if we are not able to move towards what we need, basically our emotional needs, then that's a problem. Secondly, if the experiences in the past is continuously, frequently intervening in our present, which stops us from pursuing what we need in the present, then that's another problem. So there are three dimensions here: our different experiences, our different experiences stored in a chronological order, past, present, and future, and what we need in the present. Whatever interferes with our need in the present, whatever interferes with us pursuing our needs in the present, whether it's issues in the present or constant intrusion from experiences that happened in the past, that constitutes a
So, our experiences in the past means in the childhood or teenage or in our adulthood, what exactly causes the problem?
any information at any point in our time prior to our present, which is constantly intruding into our present, because we haven't properly processed that information or that memory, that experience, that event. That information continues to be a part of our existence. We haven't processed it. We may not be consciously aware of that in the present. but somewhere it's stored in our existence in our body, and it leads to negative experiences like sadness, pain, loneliness, shame, constant fear, any sort of such information from the past which we are not at peace with, which we may or may not be aware of in the present, but it exists with high risk of intruding into our present. Such information can constitute issues in the present.
Okay, so information from the past, you said.
Yes.
Can you explain what it is actually?
Information is from an experience we can derive different types of information. Information about ourselves, information about other people, information about how safe the world is, information about how we can pursue relationships. Every information from certain experiences we have in the past constitute to a map, an internal map. This is the internal map which leads us to fulfilling or satisfying our emotional needs. So if we had aversive or negative experiences in the past, then that map becomes more complicated. The more complicated or unclear, unpredictable that map is, more anxiety, more fear, more hopelessness we live with in the present, in prospects of achieving our emotional needs. So information about the self, information about other people, information about how safe the world is, prospects about fulfilling our emotional needs, our own competencies, our existing relationship, the strategies which we have employed in the past, our belief in our strategies. So much of information can be derived from the past, which will have an impact on how we function in the present. So there are experiences, events happening in the past. There is information which we have derived from that experiences or from those events. And there is an idea about how effective those strategies will be living in the present.
One question I want to ask is, you talked about processing the information in the past.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Processing is, we have already actually processed the information. Problem lies in what kind of information we derive from those experiences or events. That's the most important issue. So when I say unprocessed, if we live with negative, self-defeating information processed from those experiences, we will continue to struggle in the present. So when I say unprocessed, it is incorrectly or maladaptively processed or not completely processed. We leave out a lot of information while processing those experiences. From incomplete information comes struggles, conflicts, difficulties in our present. So correctly, in a healthy way, humanly processing information, processing experiences from the past, deriving the correct information, deriving human information. By human, I mean applying the same standards we ought to apply on a human being. Using the same standards, we process those experiences, those events, derive the correct information. But if we falsely process any information, falsely process a particular experience or event, all we come up with is incorrect, maladaptive, unhealthy information about ourselves, about our surroundings, which leads to significant struggles in the present. Unprocessed means falsely processed or incompletely processed events and experiences from our past.